Hi everyone, we are live for you today and we have a special guest with us and it's Michael. And we're going to talk about his app called reLove and what it's all about. And for all of you who's interested to dig deeper into tantra and conscious sexuality and how you can train, how you can practice, this one is for you. So yeah. Hey, Michael.
Hi. Thank you
Nice
for
to have
having
you
me.
here.
Yeah,
So first, where are you in the world right now?
in Sweden. Yeah,
In
in
Sweden.
Sweden.
Nice. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's a bit cold, it's a bit dark, but it's a beautiful country. I love it.
Yeah. To people who fled Sweden, who escaped Sweden here. But yeah, I think we also love it when we're there. So okay, so tell us first of all, what is reLove? So just like go straight to it.
Yeah, basically it's an app that I've been working on in the last 2 years. We just launched the first kind of prototype to the air, and it's growing very beautifully from month to month. And basically, it's a platform where people can discover practices about embodiment, relating, all kinds of practices about yoga, conscious eating, conscious relating, everything around love, basically. Because especially in these times, with Corona and everything, it's more difficult to have workshops and retreats. So the idea is to give it in an accessible way to as many people as possible. Just like the embodiment conference that just finished recently, which was so beautiful. The app is this idea of just putting more love out there and access for people to experience more love in their life. Yeah, so it's a very simple app. It's kind of like TED, just focusing specifically about relationships, embodiment, sexuality, relating, and so on. And if people are curious, I have in my description the name, the website, reLoveapp.com, and they can start downloading it and playing with it and using it and sending us feedback how to make it better. That's more or less in a short way about the app.
Yeah, no, that's super nice. And when we spoke the last time, we realized that we really share like the same values and vision, like you and conscious connection, what you do, and also us. So that's why we wanted to have you here with our community, because we think that it's a great product. Like especially this time, as you say, we have to stay home maybe, or we cannot go to events at least, and yeah, it's a great way to start discover things or to connect. So yeah, absolutely. And what made you like how did it start? Like what made you create this app? What was the drive behind it?
It's, it's a bit of a story. So the question is, how much time do we have? Because this way I know how deep to go.
I know the short version. Maybe start. I mean, I know this is like 5 years ago or something like that. So maybe kind of start like the short background before that, and then more like.
Yeah. So basically, I had a major burnout in my previous company about 4 years ago. I got very sick. My relationship fell apart, and my body started to fall apart in a way, and I started to have problems sleeping, all kinds of burnout symptoms. And I just saw that it gets worse and worse and worse. And then I basically decided, after speaking with my co-founder and investors, some of them, to take a break and check what's going on with my body. And that's when I started to go to all these kind of conscious places, started to do Vipassana for the first time and learning all kinds of massages, and went to Tantra workshops, and started to travel in beautiful places in the world like Sri Lanka and Bali, and getting to know different kind of practices. And Ayurveda, for example, doing like Panchakarma, I think it's called, like a long detox And slowly, as I was doing those things, my burnout started to get better. Like I start to think again and sleep again and be more empathic again, because it felt like kind of like I was becoming more and more gray as I was in the burnout, and suddenly, the colors started to come back to my life. And then, as I was doing all these things, I still wanted to be very creative. So I was asking myself, what do I want to do now? Because I didn't want to go back to the old, making more computer games in a way, because I saw that's something I did with so much passion 10 years ago. But now it's something that is no longer my passion in a way. And then the idea for the app came because I realized, wow, this is helping me so much. Why it wasn't accessible in a younger age? Some of the things I experienced are things that I think should have been taught in high school even. How to relate, how to work with the body, how to feel your body, how to communicate, how to listen, and so on. So as an entrepreneur, I was like thinking, okay, there's this amazing content out there, but it's not very accessible. So what's the tool that we can create to bridge, the content creators, the facilitators, the people who work and study embodiment and all these subjects I mentioned before, and make it more accessible for the general population that can't go to Bali or can't go and have now 10 days break and sit in a Vipassana and so on. So yeah, that's basically my healing project, I would say. And now I'm discovering this is my passion now to build this, and it's so much fun, and I feel it's so meaningful and so important. Yeah, that's basically, I'd say, a short description of what led me to make the app. Yeah.
And how long ago did it come online? Because it's quite. I remember when I saw it, I did get notifications on Facebook or something, and
Yeah.
it's some month now. So you've worked on it for like 2 years, and it's been online for how long?
About a month, I think, maybe a bit more. Yeah.
So it's like brand new. So for anybody who's watching now, if you haven't heard about it, it's because it's brand new, basically.
Yeah, we have still, bugs and so on, but we are slowly growing it, like step by step. We will, have more users, we'll have more teachers, we'll have more content, we'll add more features. I have such an amazing roadmap full of beautiful features coming up to make it.
Somebody who's watching now and they don't know what to expect. So what would you say if you go and get the app? What's like the first steps to do? Like how would you introduce somebody who gets the app? What should they click on? What should they do?
So first of all, we are going to make it more intuitive than now. But basically, what they're going to expect is just discovering practices, discovering teachers, discovering tools that can help them, or they can use them to, for personal growth. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. And it's quite simple, you just choose a subject and you have like all kinds of stages that you watch step by step. As you finish watching a video, it opens the next video in the line. And we are still playing with the UI, with the UX, and we're going to figure out the best way that it can work to any kind of person. Yeah.
And I get many questions from people who like to start with Tantra, but they don't know if they can start. Like everyone says, like, oh, but do I need a partner? Like, of course they don't. But like, is this app also for solo practitioner, for singles, or if you just want to tune into yourself, connect with yourself, or do you actually need a partner to do the courses or exercise as well?
So first of all, we are all basically already like partners. We have a body and we have the consciousness. Yeah. So that's already something you can do with yourself. But we also have couple exercises that you can do with another person. So we plan to have both, and also for single people, also for people in a relationship. Basically the idea is that we are inviting teachers and experts to contribute anything, and people just will find, as we improve the UI, exactly what they're looking for. as well as discovering new exciting things from other teachers that maybe they would have never heard of, and suddenly through the app they like stumble upon it and discover a whole new library, you know, kind of like what happened to me when I decided to take a break from my previous company and explore new fields, you know, just because I needed to take care of my body, you know.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering, Michael, in your journey, would you say that the solo practices like Vipassana and like meditation has been more nurturing, or would you say that it's really when you were connecting like with another aura, with another person? What do you feel has been the main thing for you to come back to a more real way of relating and being?
I think it's always about connecting with the self, but it was always when I meet people or practice new things, like it's an integral part of the process. It's not only working with yourself, but also working with others. So it's like a step by step, you know, like everyone is a mirror for us. Yeah. So when I meet someone that I feel, oh, wow, there's something about that person that I feel it attracts me to them, you know, so let's see what is the gift in this connection we're going to have. And this is how I slowly collected the pieces, you know, and this is how I'm also developing this new company, this new project, you know. I'm just listening and waiting, and things are coming, you know. Yeah.
I recently did a taste of Ipasana, but like for half a day. But oh wow, that was challenging. That was really challenging. I was so angry. I cannot believe how you can do it for 10 days. It's very impressive. But yeah.
I'm a very persistent person, so
Oh, I'm not.
it was very
Maybe
challenging
that's
for me.
why.
It was very challenging.
Wow. Yeah.
I know we probably have some human design and gene key people on, since this is like kind of where I am. So I just want to tell you that Michael is a 4-1, which is like the fixed profile. So he is going to have that kind of fixedness of saying, I'm going to just sit for this time, and he's going to make it, you know. And Anna is a 1-3, so she's all about discovering, but all like kind of more like, you know, trying out this and trying out that, and like so there is. I can also just kind of see it in human design how a fixed profile would be like, yeah, this is like this is my journey, this is my path, this is where I go. And then Anna more like trying different things and kind of becoming empowered in different disciplines. So I love how your human design is also kind of just showing us that you're living your design, and you're finding your way, you know, in the world, in reality.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's cool that you checked my human design.
Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah.
Generating yeah, or manifesting generator. I forgot.
Yeah, both.
Oh, you also manifesting generator. So that we share.
I have another question that is interesting, because with Anna and me, we are a little bit kind of sometimes on the edge and on the discovery of things, and you know, we want to speak about things that not everybody speak about. I think we're a little bit more provocative in some way. What I feel when I look at the app, and like what it kind of inspires in me, with a lot of like pastel colors and like the hands, it's a lot of like gentleness and softness. And I know that is like a conscious decision that you have made. So would you speak about that, the reason for the gentleness, and even like in the kind of branding and the colors? Why did you choose that? Why is that important?
That was a question for me? I'm sorry. Yeah. Why did I choose? Okay. I thought you were asking Anna, because it was cut for a moment. Gentleness. Yeah. I think this is my path, you know, in life, is to learn how to be gentle with myself, you know. So that's one thing. Also, I think in general, women are a bit nowadays more open to this field than men. So I took a bit, for the beginning, a bit more feminine kind of like design. But the plan is to include everyone in the end. So the design will probably also become more balanced as we progress. But that's the idea, is to, like, how can we create a stepping stone from people who are living in cities and people who didn't hear about conscious connection, for example, into people who are starting to practicing embodiment. And that's the idea, is we need to create like a gentle pathway, you know, like a way that we can, for someone, because for me, I remember when I first heard about Tantra, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, I don't want to do it. And I had so much resistance, you know. And I actually, my first workshop for Tantra was kind of, I don't know, a mistake, you know, like I didn't know I was going to a Tantra workshop, actually. It's a long, funny story, but basically there was a lot of inner resistance because there was this all kinds of beliefs of things that I heard and so on. So that's why I thought an app would be so good, because people can try it, you know, privately in their own room, and like without risking, you know, too much shame or guilt, or you know, even spending money. You know, many people don't have the money to go to like big week-long retreats and so on. So that's why it is built in this way, like an app, simple, gentle approach, a bit feminine right now, but in the future I will believe, you know, both sexes would be open to it in the same level. Yeah, that was the choice basically behind the design, you know, as well as, you know, just randomly meeting through friends, like someone who I just looked at the artwork and I was like, wow, this is exactly the kind of style that felt right now. And we'll expand from there. You know, it's an ever-going process. It's like it's an app, but it is a service. You know, it's not a one-time product. It's evolving as we learn, as we grow, as we have more and more teachers and more users.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been feeling that on my journey because I'm somebody who's kind of stubborn and determined, I would say, more than anything. So I've always kind of gone 100% like with anything that I do in my life, and I feel like I'm learning gentleness. And even when it comes to sexuality, I'm a kind of passionate person. So I remember with Tantra and kind of where, you know, when we places we met at, Michael, like for example the Tantra festival in Sweden at Ängsbacka. It's like I realized that I started to be able to appreciate a much more wide range. So if before it was just like kind of the passion and the intensity, I started with Tantra to be able to also appreciate the feather and the whisper, and to like really to reLove for me is to like come back to that whole range of taking in, the range of being, the range of appreciation that comes from like the feather and the whisper all the way through the spectrum to the intensity and even the primal desire that we have as human beings. So gentleness for me has been extremely important, and I have to kind of remind myself of that, not only in sexuality but in everyday life. Like, you know, I am a generator if we speak about human design, and I can just go. So remembering that to come back to softness, and that's when we discover parts of us that when we just run, we sometimes don't even feel like we're tired. We don't feel like a burnout is like knocking on the door.
Yeah. And this has been my big learning in life, you know, because I had, for example, two spine surgeries, you know, quite a big impact on my body. And because I had this childhood scoliosis, you know, many people have all kinds of levels, but I had quite a severe one. And that was part of the journey. Like, as I was healing, I was reconnecting with my body, and then the decision to take out the metal implants I had in my spine came, and that's another beautiful story that I can share maybe in the comments after that, the article I wrote about it. So yeah, part of my journey is building this app. Another one is healing my body from the trauma of that surgery. And yeah, life is very beautiful nowadays. You know, it's a mysterious path we are walking, but you know, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, so nice. And do you think that are things changing? Are people more interested in learning about conscious sexuality? Are people getting more conscious, aware, curious? Or what is your feeling? Like, are we in a shift, or is it like it was like 5 years ago? Is it like the same? Because I have a feeling that more people, like as soon as I mentioned Tantra, they're like, oh, everyone talks. Like, I went to this new coffee shop, not coffee shop, Amsterdam coffee shop, but like coffee espresso shop. It's a new shop. And yeah, I mentioned, you know, he was like, oh, but what do you do? And I mentioned conscious connection and Tantra. It's like, oh, everyone talks about tantra nowadays, and isn't Sting is like all about tantra, and he was really curious. So everywhere I go, I find people who are just they hear a little bit, they're curious, they feel an urge to try it in some way, but they don't know a lot about it. But yeah, I feel a big change, or maybe it's because I'm changing myself. But yeah, I'm curious about what your view is on that.
So I've been more or less doing this kind of lifestyle for 3.5 years now, and I definitely see a growing trend. Yes, and even you can see that in the last embodiment conference. It was huge. So there is some kind of a global awakening of coming back to the body. I think it's beautiful. And also being here in Sweden, like I have already so many Facebook groups I see that of people who are looking for this and practicing this. It is something that is happening really, really beautifully now. So the answer is yes, yeah, it's growing, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
I'm wondering, because we were speaking a little bit before about, I feel like, an altruistic way of living, and also kind of something that's not just like, it's not about monetizing. It's not about, so tell us a little bit about your philosophy, like even with what you're doing and this thing that you're like, it's not kind of money driven. And right now, like everybody's is actually coming together, working for free. Like, would you give us a little bit about kind of that worldview and how that actually kind of taps into your whole ideology is what I feel.
Okay, this is a bit of a long answer, but basically, one thing I learned about my burnout was that when I was driven out of fear in my company, which was this sense of scarcity, that I need to make money in order to feel safe as a man. I need to have money and I don't know, so on, to have a partner, and like all these kinds of beliefs around scarcity. That's where my body started to shut down. And the moment I start to become aware about my beliefs and so on, I realized that scarcity is a mindset, and abundance is also a mindset. But abundance is more kind of feels real, like everything is abundant. Actually, sorry, it's abundance is not. It's not a mindset. It's a state. Abundance is a state, more or less, I would say. I'm kind of filling into the answer as I'm speaking, but there's enough for everyone. That's basically the idea, that there's enough for balance. The nature takes care of us all the time. And therefore, how can I just leave the idea of running around money and just trust that the universe will provide in a way. So yeah, it's a bit difficult to speak about it right now, but basically the idea is that we are working based on trust. We are working based on listening. In Swedish, there's this beautiful word called lagom, which I'm adopting. You're smiling because you probably know it. So everyone in the app is working in, out of their own passion and out of their own free will and ideology.
And that's
the same vision, Yeah, it's a difficult. I have to write down, like more like to set my, the transmission, I guess, right. But how can I say? Yeah, you just work based on trust and abundance, and it's happening. This app was built just by doing that. Everyone who's working on the team are just working out of love and overflow of energy to contribute to it, and it's growing this way. And yeah, like what created a big burnout for me back then in that company was the whole paperwork and salaries and negotiation, and I believe just in transparency, like pure transparency in the company, and then everyone can just feel safe working in it. And also, I really take inspiration from the Swedish society in general. How they all take care of each other, and also like Spotify, like being such a cheap service to apply to, but it gives you access to so much music, so much healing. Like, so that's the idea, is like, how can we make the app as cheap as possible so it can run? And that's why we don't charge anything. There's like a Patreon page that people can contribute to it, and that's the vision. I want it to be basically free for everyone to access. But we need to pay for the servers, and we need to pay for the content providers, and for the programmers and the artists. So we're trying to ride that idea. It's difficult to put it into words, but I hope I hope that people can understand, because this way there's no worries. I don't need to worry. I don't need to burn out, and also other people don't need to burn out. We're all just gonna probably have just enough salary to have a good lifestyle and do something that we believe in, that has a big meaning for the world, for general healing, of the planet.
Yeah. So basically, for people that sign up, there's a lot that is free. And then I saw that you have on your website like $5 a month that you can contribute, or 25 if you want to contribute more, or there's really this kind of openness as well, and the transparency and the honesty for each one of us. Like, is this important in the world? How much? I think it's like, if you have a lot of money, maybe you can contribute 25 a month. Maybe a little bit of money you can contribute $5 a month. Maybe right now, with whatever is happening in the world, like it's that honesty and transparency with ourselves too. Is this a cause that I want to contribute for? And do I what is my level of being able to do that? And then it's like a world that is created from transparency, instead of like, oh, what's the cost from this service? Because that's like, I like that way of doing it. I really feel like that's the future, and we're all gonna have to be honest with our contribution.
Yeah, I mean that's I call it like an abundance mindset business. Like to trust that if we are aligned, if we are doing the right thing, people will find out, people will contribute, people will support us, and I'm basically, by I guess most amount of time I spent is being a musician, and I love like being in a street and seeing like a street artist. Like, they are just giving out of their passion and love, and people feel that, and then people pay. So that's what I learned in my previous company, where I was building computer games. I was building mobile free-to-play games. So over there, the game was for free, and people who really loved the game and felt like they really enjoyed it, they paid a little bit. But that was the previous business model, and it worked in gaming. So why can't it also work in conscious connection, in conscious relating, in conscious sexuality, and so on? So the idea is to letting go of this grid, and going back into just love. And that's also the name of the app. reLove is relationship, embodiment, and love. That's kind of the name. Yeah,
that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing all this. And we like you. We like what you're doing, and we like your mindset. So we're happy to be friends. I think, we're going to see more of you probably, and perhaps you're going to see more of us on reLove as well. So keep an eye out.
I'd love to,
do we have any questions from the live, or from the viewer, from the people watching, or no?
We just have some sign-ups, which is really good. So continue to sign up, I guess. And if you have comments or questions to watch after the live, please do that, and we'll try to tag us, and we'll try to get to it.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, and thank you for being with us, Michael.
Thank you so much for having me, and hope to have you soon on the app as well.
Of course. Looking forward.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.